Miss April Jordan from the Cumbie Center. She's the Director of Outreach, and then we also have Miss Teresa Smoke from the Counseling Center here. And they're just going to give some presentations, information surrounding dating and domestic violence in honor of Domestic Violence Awareness Month, which is this October. And yeah, so I hope you all enjoy, and we'll go ahead and get started.
Thank you, Kylie. We'll go ahead and get started, everybody. For those of you has anybody in here ever been to any of my presentations that I do up here? I know, Kylie, you have. There, y'all have? Okay, good. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about some sensitive information. So the very first thing that I want to say is if anything is triggering or it feels sensitive to you, if you need to step out, it's not going to interrupt at all, okay? So please feel free to do that. Also, I want to say thank you for coming. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and so that's also applicable to dating violence as well. We're going to talk today about some very sensitive things. So anyway, my name is April Jordan. I'm the Director of Outreach at Cumbie Center. We'll talk a little bit about Cumbie Center services, and then we're going to go into talking about some types of abuse, all right? And we're going to go into some details about it. I'd love to have questions, comments, participation in the conversation. So please feel free to speak out if you have anything, even while I'm up here talking, okay? So I have a very long history in the criminal justice field. My very first job out of college a very long time ago was also at the Cumbie Center, and I handled all the sexual assault cases. After that, I went on to be a victim advocate at the solicitor's office here in Aiken County, which is like the district attorney's office, the prosecutor's office. And I did that for a few years, and then from there I went on to be the Director of Crime Victim Services for Aiken County. And in that role, I did a lot of different things, to include I worked for all of the judges, all the law enforcement agencies, the jail. I responded to crime scenes. I've done a whole lot. So I've seen a lot in my career. And now I'm back at the Cumbie Center, and I do all the presentations, professional trainings, things of that nature, where I can share my education, my experience all throughout the years. So thank you for having me here. And I know that this is an ACE event. When you were talking about making sure to sign in, that was for that, right? Yes, please make sure to do that. All right, let's see if this is not going to work now. Okay, so now my pointer is not working. Yeah, it's not that, it's something else. Hmm? The recording is doing that. There we go. Perfect. Okay, that's okay. That's okay. So again, it's some very important information that we have today. We'll be defining abuse. We'll talk about the types of abuse, some signs, red flags, documenting, and what now, or what next. So who in here is familiar with Cumbie Center? I've got a couple of people I know that are very familiar with Cumbie Center. All right, can anybody tell me what Cumbie Center is, if you're familiar?
It's the Center for Women and Children dealing with domestic violence, sexual assault, and other types of abuse within that nature.
Yes, very good. Thank you. Thank you. So Cumbie Center, that's exactly what we are. We are a nonprofit agency that assists victims of domestic violence and sexual assault. We serve 6 South Carolina counties. We're in Aiken, Allendale, Barnwell, Edgefield, McCormick, and Saluda. We've been around for a really long time, since 1979. Even before the Victims' Bill of Rights came out in the mid-'80s. So our formal mission is to support and empower domestic violence and sexual violence victims and their families by providing services, reducing the tolerance of abuse, and advocating for social change. So we have 3 very specific arms of what we do. Services, which are direct services with clients, and then reducing the tolerance of abuse and advocating for social change. And we do that through education and also outreach. We have an Aiken office location over on Buford Street, and then we have a Barnwell office location in the Circle in Barnwell. And then we have a Safe House location as well. And so I can't tell you where that is. That's a confidential location, very secure. So we're going to talk just an overview about what we do, and then we're going to dive into the types of abuse. Is the volume okay back there for you? Okay. So we serve everyone, and all of our services are free and confidential. So we don't just serve women, we also serve men. We have a 24-hour crisis hotline. We do a lot of crisis intervention, case management, counseling services, court advocacy. We do the paperwork for orders of protection. We go to the hospital 24/7 in all of the hospitals that are in our service area. We have our safe house. We do support groups, prevention groups, community awareness, professional trainings, lots of education as well. And again, all of our services are free and confidential. And so if you have any questions about anything throughout this presentation that you would like to ask privately, you're more than welcome to call our office and we can touch base with you. All right, so let's just look at some statistics first. All right, 69% of female and 53% of male victims of rape, physical violence, or stalking by an intimate partner had their first experience with intimate partner violence before the age of 25. Is anybody in here over 25 besides me? Sorry, Trish. Okay, nobody. So that percentage applies directly here. 43% of dating college women report experiencing violent and abusive dating behaviors that include physical, sexual, digital, verbal, or other controlling abuse. That's almost half of women in college. Nearly 1 in 3 college women say they've been in an abusive dating relationship. So let's talk about it. What is the first thing that you think of when we say the word abuse?
Hitting,
Hitting.
verbal,
Verbal.
sexual,
Sexual. Emotional. Child abuse. Psychological. All of those things. That's exactly right. A lot of times what we tend to focus on, though, is the physical abuse, right? Because that's something that we see. That's something that we see, and we minimize the other kinds very easily. So let's look at it. So the word abuse, it's an umbrella term that relates to domestic and dating violence. Does anybody know what the difference between domestic violence and dating violence is? Anybody? Yeah.
I think domestic is more like dealing with your family, and then dating more like in a relationship.
Okay. All right. So it's basically a legal term. Okay. So years ago, domestic violence used to include anybody that's in your household. So that could be grandma, uncle, whoever. Okay. Now it only includes intimate partners. And an intimate partner in the state of South Carolina is defined as someone who you are or were married to, are or used to live together, or you share a child in common. So that's an intimate partner. And so the term domestic violence, it is a non-legal term across the United States, but in South Carolina it's also a legal term. So it's considered criminal domestic violence, and that's a charge that you can be arrested for. So domestic violence includes somebody, either you live together, you were married, are married, or have a child. Dating violence includes the same elements of abuse, can include the same elements of abuse, but you don't have to have lived together or be married or share a child in common, right? So let's talk about it. It can be, and y'all already named these. So abuse can be physical, sexual, digital, verbal, emotional, mental, all of those things. And we're going to talk a little bit about what some of the details about each of those times. So each type of abuse can and oftentimes does take place in dating and domestic violence situations. And what we see at the Cumby Center is we see patterns of all of these things. They're all very, very common in all of our domestic and dating violence cases. Healing from a domestic or dating violence case is very complex. There are a lot of different layers, and we're going to talk about those things today. There's going to be a lot of information on these screens, and so I'm not going to read off of it. This is just for you to take in while we're talking about it. So physical abuse can show up in different ways. Would y'all consider sexual abuse also physical abuse?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. It absolutely is. So physical abuse causes harm to a person's body. That seems kind of elementary for me to even be saying that to you guys as college students, right? But we need to understand what this is. We need to understand what physical abuse is, what are some signs of it, and maybe you're experiencing it. So so in terms of domestic violence nationwide, 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men are victims. South Carolina statistics show that almost half of our women and 1/3 of our men are victims. All right? So we're going to sit in this room and we're going to say, oh yes, we already know what all of this is. I already know what the red flags are. I already know what my boundaries are. But if we know all these things, why are our numbers so high? All right, so let's consider it. So maybe you've heard these things before, maybe you need to hear them again today. How many people do we have in this room? Let's see. Let's say 21. All right, we'll say 22. We'll include me. So 11 of us in here, almost 11 of us in here have been victims. Do you think that maybe your neighbor, your friend sitting next to you has ever been a victim? Maybe. It's likely the way statistics are. All right, let's talk about it. Some signs of physical abuse. So there's obviously, would pulling your hair or punching you or slapping or kicking you, would you consider that physical abuse? Yeah, that's obvious, right? What about if somebody is preventing you from getting sleep or preventing you from eating? Is that considered physical abuse? It absolutely is. What about using weapons? I mean, yeah, right? Harming your children or pets, driving recklessly, and you're a passenger. Would that be considered physical abuse? It is. So I have responded to the hospital many times for domestic violence and dating violence cases. I had this one girl, most recently, it was maybe 3 weeks ago, that I went to the hospital, and she was young, she was 21 years old, and it was a pretty severe case. They were driving in the car, and he was driving, and he punched her, and slammed on the brakes, got out, ran around, unlocked her car, undid her seatbelt. She would not get out because she felt like, it was really fixing to get even worse. And so he went back to the driver's seat, got in the car, started driving, and she tried to jump out, and he slammed on the brakes and then kicked her sideways out of the car. Now, she had some pretty severe injuries. He got out of the car, he went over there, and he started beating her, and then he tried to set her on fire. Now, all of those things, those are pretty severe, right? We would absolutely, most everybody in here would probably say that's all abuse, right? But there were some other things that happened even before they got in the car, which included name calling. It included not touching her, but he towered over her and made her very fearful. Is that considered abuse? Yes, it absolutely is. So we've got to pay attention to those things. Do you think that maybe she saw red flags earlier in the relationship? Okay. What would you tell a friend like that if you had a friend that was in a relationship where somebody was calling names, or what would you tell her?
I mean, it depends on the calling names. If you get to the hitting part, please let me step in. Please.
Okay, but let me ask you this. Are you stepping in when there's name calling?
It depends on how bad the name calling.
Yeah.
Who said yes back there? Okay, who said no? This is an honest conversation. You said it depends. Okay, but why does it depend?
Because it depends on the type of name calling.
Okay.
Sometimes those friends will accept that type of name calling, but if it's a type of name calling that makes them uncomfortable, then yeah, I'm upset.
Okay, but would y'all, this is a very good point, if it makes them uncomfortable, but would y'all agree that there's a standard, whether it makes you uncomfortable, and it doesn't make you uncomfortable. Is there a standard of name calling that really, whether or not it makes you uncomfortable, that's wrong? Okay, there is, right? There absolutely is. And why do you think that some folks don't consider it a bad thing with certain name calling? Why?
Because they probably, been used to that before. Like they're used to hearing that type of stuff before. And they just didn't see nothing wrong.
Maybe they're used to hearing that with their family, right? With their nuclear family that they grew up in the home. Maybe that was normal. Did you want to say something about it? The same thing. Yeah, maybe they're used to it. Maybe it's happened so often that then their self-love, their self-awareness, their feelings of self-worth are down in the dumps, right? And a lot of times that happens in dating and domestic violence. I mean, they break you down to where this is what you end up accepting. Physical abuse is also preventing you from contacting emergency services, forcing you to use alcohol and drugs, trapping you in your home. Now, in the state of South Carolina, you can be charged with kidnapping just by not allowing somebody to leave. All right? There doesn't have to be any touch or any force. And that carries 30 years. Have you ever, we're not gonna call you out specifically, but do you know somebody who's ever stood in a doorway and said, "You are not leaving until we finish this"? Do you know anybody? Yeah. You add that to some domestic violence charges and you might be out of here for a while. All right, so signs of sexual abuse. Forcing you to dress in a certain way that you might be uncomfortable with. Insulting you in sexual ways or calling you explicit names. Forcing or manipulating you into having sex or performing sexual acts. Choking you or restraining you without your consent. And everybody knows what consent is, right? Everybody seems to know what consent is. Then why are our numbers in South Carolina at 45.9% for women to be sexual assault victims, and about 19% of our men are sexual assault victims? If we know what consent means, why are our numbers so high? Who is not considering someone else's consent? Go ahead.
Maybe like married women,
What do you think?
like they're the ones that has why it's so high.
I'm not sure if I understand what you're saying.
Like married couples, they're the ones a lot is so high, like why the rates are so high for sexual abuse.
Are you asking me if that's the case? Or are you saying that it's married?
Yes.
Now, I'm not sure about that part. 45.9% of females in our state are victims of sexual assault. So sexual assault can live inside a domestic or dating violence, but it can also live on its own, right? And of the ones of that 45.9%, I'm not sure what percent of those are married couples off the bat. I'd have to go look that up. Yeah, or married females. But just think about that. Just think about that. All right, what are some parts of consent? All right, it has to be ongoing, right? What else? Can you consent if drug or alcohol is used? What's the age of consent in South Carolina? 16. Does anybody know what the age of consent? Like, let me ask you this: Do you know what the age of consent is in California? Anybody? What would you think the age of consent in California is? 14, 13? Why? Tell me why.
Because it's more younger people,
It almost feels like a more progressive kind of state, right? Like free, well, actually, California is 18. All right. So one of the things that we need to be aware of, wherever we are, is what is the age of consent, and or drug and alcohol being used. All right. You can't consent. Can you consent when you're asleep? No. If you consented 5 minutes ago and now you're deciding that you don't want to have sex or do whatever that act is that consent? No. So consent is revocable. All right. Do you feel like, or do you know somebody who's ever been coerced after they have said no. Do you know somebody who told you that story?
Yeah.
Yeah. That even happens in marriages. That even happens with intimate partners, is that coercion part to manage emotions. So, do we have people in here that are in charge of their emotions? Are y'all managing your own? Or are you asking your partner to regulate what's going on? Yeah, think about that. Think about that. So, signs of sexual abuse: holding you down during sex without your consent, involving other people in your sexual activities, hurting you with objects, forcing you to watch or make pornography. All these sorts of things are things that we need to be watching for. And also, sexual harassment and sextortion. So, sexual harassment is unwelcome sexual behavior that creates a hostile, intimidating, or offensive environment. And so we've got to be very careful within our dating and domestic violence relationships, but also those of friends and our peers around us as well. Sexual harassment can look like sexual nicknames or comments. It can look like making unnecessary physical contact. Sextortion is catfishing. Are y'all familiar with sextortion at all? Yes, so there's a lot that's going on. There's quite a few young folks that are committing suicide over sextortion here in the last couple of years. Are y'all familiar with any of the cases that have happened? On Instagram, scrolling along, you get a DM of some cute little girl that says, "Hey, how you doing?" They're trained to do this now, to bring you in, and then within 2 hours, y'all are sending pictures to each other. "Hey, send me a picture. Hey, send me a picture." And y'all know what kind of pictures I'm talking about now. Send me a picture, and all of a sudden they've got a picture, and then they say, either you send me $300, $500, whatever it is, or I'm going to broadcast this to whomever you know. And that's a very scary place to be. That's a very scary place to be. Do you know who these actual scammers are? They live in Russia and in Nigeria. We just recently, this past year, extradited or brought them over, found 3 and 4 guys who were doing this to other young guys. Okay? Because it's all about money. It's all about money. So we need to be watching the red flags for all types of abuse, whether they live in dating and domestic violence relationships or outside of that as well. Very important to know, so I just wanted to touch on that. So verbal abuse, let's get into that. Obviously we know it's vocal, it's screaming, it's yelling, it's all of those sorts of things, but it's also what? It's blaming, it's harsh and persistent criticism, it's gaslighting, right? Making me second guess myself, kind of acting like, now I'm like, did it really happen? You know, and then I start minimizing things. They're very judgy, name-calling, threats, withholding. What about withholding? A refusal to give affection or attention, including talking to you. So is the silent treatment a good tool to use sometimes? No. Maybe. What are your intentions? Are your intentions about power and control? Right? Or is it because you're protecting your peace? Right? So you got to think about them. Yeah, sometimes that's the way to go. But when you're talking about withholding as it being punitive or being a punishment, or your motivation is about power and control, then that's abusive. So let's talk about these things. Using words to shame you, making jokes at your expense. Have y'all ever been around a couple who makes jokes at each other that are really almost crossing the line? Have you ever been around somebody like that? Does it make you feel uncomfortable when you're around them? It does. It does. And it's almost to the line where you're like, you know, is that something that I should be paying attention to? What about they humiliate you in public? Have y'all ever seen anything like that? A partner humiliating the other? Mm-hmm. In what way? Can somebody give me an example? Huh? Calling, saying they look ugly. All right. That's right.
Being around other people is, but going out with other people, maybe they feel foolish.
Going out with other people, like almost dating, like in front of them, is that what you mean? It's almost taunting and teasing,
Yeah.
right? Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Humiliating in public, like, my God, why would you do that? Right? Like saying even those sorts of things. Girl, you are so stupid. All right? Criticizing you, yelling, screaming, and swearing at you. All right, so in some of the young groups that I go talk to, there's a lot of debate about whether or not cussing, using certain verbiage at people is okay. Do you like to be sweared at? Are you okay with it?
I hate it.
You hate it? Okay. You hate it?
It just.
It didn't. Let's talk about it. Like what? Give me an example. What's okay and what's not okay to you personally?
Depending on the way that you're using it.
Okay.
And sometimes friends call each other the B word,
Yeah.
so it's just something that they do with each other. But if it's coming from like the outside, if you're using the word as like an insult
Okay.
to a person, then that's maybe when the problem definitely comes in.
So if a friend comes up and say, "Hey B, what's up?" That feels all right. But what if it's a dating partner? What if it's a dating partner? You know what I often hear? What I often hear in terms of physical abuse, verbal abuse, and emotional abuse from the guys, okay, and I hear this at every single one I go to, is that the guys like them when they're a little bit crazy. If she ain't stalking me, if she ain't acting a little crazy, giving me that extra attention, I don't want her. Anybody want to weigh in on that?
He said that.
Anybody want to weigh in? If she ain't acting crazy, like if another girl says something to you, and if your girlfriend ain't ready to, throw hands, then I don't want her. Tell me what that's about. Anybody? Any guys want to weigh in? Girls, guys, whoever.
I'll weigh in.
Tell me.
I don't know about all that.
You know what? Okay, what do you think?
I'm gonna say, I would like a girl with a backbone that can, got something going for herself.
Maybe a
and
little
can
bit
defend
passionate.
herself.
Okay, I get it.
You
Maybe a
know,
little bit passionate.
Stalking and
That's
all
the
that, that's a little crazy.
That's a little crazy. Go ahead.
I don't feel like stalking is that crazy when you think of it.
All right, now hold on. Y'all pay attention to who's saying this right now.
Okay, when I say stalking, I mean like, liking your pics, like liking your highlights, because it gets to a point, like, I know y'all post a story and someone that y'all like don't slide up, because like, they hate you. It's like, dang, you think I'm ugly. It's how you feel.
Yeah.
But like, in my case,
That's valid.
I ain't gonna lie, typically the crazy ones, they do tend to go left real fast. Like, the craziness usually don't stop, it spreads to other parts of your life. So
Okay.
just don't date nobody crazy.
Okay. Okay, but seriously, why do we like them crazy like that? And when I say we, I mean y'all.
I mean, they be crazy for a good amount of time. Like, the crazy is fun for like first 2 weeks, it's like, damn.
Okay, but why is it fun? Is it because
It's an
you're
adrenaline rush.
getting attention and adrenaline rush? Okay, and is it because we're going to talk about this in just a minute. Because with dating and relationships, a red flag would be intensity. Going over the top really fast, right? That's a red flag. And if you see that in the beginning, what you might see on this continuum of relationships looks like this. It's like healthy, then unhealthy, then abusive, and there's a million little ticks in between.
Man, I need to do a month ago.
Hey, listen, pay attention to these things, because intensity is one of the red flags you want to look for, where you might end up over here on this side. Did you have something?
Yeah, I feel like some guys, they think it's like entertaining.
They think it's entertaining. Okay, you mean to receive that kind of attention? Is that what you're saying? Okay, tell me. You ain't got nothing to say now? Okay. You like them crazy, is that what it is? Let's put them on the spot. You plead the fifth? Okay, he's pleading the fifth. But thank you for being open for this conversation.
Okay, I understand some of it, but like stalking? But that sounds like.
Okay, well, let's talk about it.
I
What
don't
do you
like
think
nothing I
stalking
can't
is?
stop. I don't like nothing I can't stop.
What do you think? What is your definition of stalking?
Oh,
Stalking is it could either be from social media, you're constantly looking at that person's page. They post something new, you're updating their page. They post this, they post that, but then you need that.
it's called crazy in love. That's what they
No, it's called stalking.
But both people are doing it. It's not one person.
But it's still a little bit.
Okay, let's talk for a minute about social media. Just in general. You're scrolling through, how many of you will watch a reel that's 6 minutes long? One, two, three, okay, so about a third or a fourth of it. And how many of you, if it's not catching your attention immediately, you're pushing on through? Okay. So, can you parallel that to relationship stuff of what we're talking about? Okay, it feels good, right? All of a sudden, you're getting fed, okay? And then what happens if they don't follow through with all this crazy? Does it feel boring? Does the relationship feel like, you know?
Sometimes the crazy just gets out of hand.
It gets out of hand. Believe me, I know. That's exactly what we see at the Cumby Center.
It snaps.
Exactly what we see. All right, making threats. Not only do they make threats towards you, but maybe they make threats of suicide. I love you so much. If you leave me, I'm going to kill myself. Do you know anybody who's done it?
I know a few anyway.
All right, so let's talk about emotional abuse. All right, emotional abuse is a way to control another person, and so another person's emotions. Every single type of abuse that we're talking about here, it all comes back to power and control. Every single bit of it. And it might not feel that way to you, but it absolutely is. So, we talked about a few of these things: silent treatment, gaslighting, attempting to control your behavior, shame or blame, trivializing the other person's concerns, constant arguing. So I used to say this whole, I call it like a push and pull. Like when a relationship is just not easy, right? There's just this constant push and pull. Do y'all know anybody that's like that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, just this constant. Like if I say the sky is blue, you're gonna say, well, it's turquoise blue.
You'll be singing. I'm not going to be arguing with you.
Right, it's just the constant, it doesn't feel like it flows, right? It doesn't feel like it flows. And these are all things that we need to pay attention to because they can easily escalate to something else. So, emotional abusers have unrealistic expectations. They invalidate you in many ways. They create chaos. And maybe the chaos is not showing up on the outside, but do y'all know what chaos feels like on the inside? Have you ever experienced being in a relationship where you just feel like this on the inside?
Told my life up, man.
You know, it's about how you feel. It's about what feels easy, where you feel peaceful and calm. In your mind right now, can you think of somebody that's in your life that maybe you used to date or maybe you're dating now that you just felt peaceful with?
No.
No.
She was very
Oh.
I know that's right. But I had to learn healthy skills because I'm a borderline.
Yes, and healthy skills are very important. Healthy skills are very important, and that starts with awareness, onto education, all of these things. All right, what about somebody that makes you feel like you're walking on eggshells? What is that? Can somebody explain that to me?
You're constantly on edge, like anything you do is gonna make you mad.
Okay, go ahead.
I was going to school. I was going to
Okay. Yeah, but walking on eggshells, that's exactly right. Walking on eggshells is feeling like If I'm myself, if I make a certain choice, if I decide to eat a certain thing or a certain way, then I might make the other person mad. And that's essentially changing my behavior so that I can regulate their emotions. Are you in the business to regulate another adult's emotions? Okay. Who needs to have self-control? Adults. Who needs to think about not being impulsive? Adults. Who needs to have coping skills? Adults. Healthy relationship skills? Adults. And so I'm not saying that we're going to know it all or be perfect in our relationships, but shouldn't we always be in a growth mindset and to also be, trying to be more emotionally intelligent, more emotionally mature, right? Not behaving erratically, not criticizing. One of the things with invalidating is refusing to accept your feelings by trying to define how you should feel. Ever experienced that?
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
I need definition. I get context.
Yeah,
Like a
absolutely. So what are we talking about here? Refusing to accept your feelings by trying to define how you feel. So if you go to your partner and you say, I feel very bad because you did X, right? What do you think that would look like? And they're saying, no, you don't feel that way because this is not what happened. You're just having a bad day.
They would get left right here. I ain't gonna tell you how I feel.
Okay. But listen, if you're not paying attention to these red flags on the front end, and if you minimize some of these behaviors, you accept it once, right? Then all of a sudden you're in it 6 months later, a year later, all right? This is what we see all the time with domestic violence victims who are living in years and years of abuse. Years and years of abuse. All right, they also use emotional blackmail. They try to act superior, like they know more than you. They blame you for their mistakes. It's your fault that I hit you.
Facts.
Pardon? It's gonna be their fault.
That's
They're at the
exactly
hospital. Wait, what?
Here's the thing. This is what we all say. I'm just gonna be real with you. This is what we all say until we're in it.
Facts. When I got hit, I was like, damn.
No, I'm being serious. It's very easy for us to say these things when we're not in it, honestly. Honestly. And then when we experience it, it's very hard to process that. Like, what just happened? I never thought I would put up with that kind of thing, or that I would be the victim of something like this. Even with all this information that you're given, that's why we really have to be diligent with knowing ourselves and understanding what these red flags are, right? They also, so they try to control or isolate you. They use jealousy and envy as a sign of love. I don't want you to go out with your friends because I love you so much, I want to spend all of our time together.
What if it's like not in extreme cases? Like, I thought it's a healthy amount. Obviously, like, oh, you can't go out. We might be like, oh, like, you've been going out with someone, you've been with them all week. Can I have like 3 hours with you?
Okay, but there's the difference. There's the difference. Was that somebody explaining to you their feelings and who then says, can I have a little bit of your
They're
time?
asking, they're not demanding.
Okay, they're not demanding, they're not trying to control you, they're sharing your feelings. Is that different? Absolutely, that's different. You should communicate with your partner. They say, hey, I feel like I'm not getting enough attention. But if you haven't stepped out of that house for the last 7 days because you're staring at them, then there's a problem there. You need to evaluate. Did you have something?
Yeah, I was gonna say like, so basically, what if you like dating this person and they, they say you can't go with this your best friend or your boyfriend's friend? Like, I feel like it's kind of the same thing as well. What you were just talking about, like courtship.
Okay, so you're saying if you're dating somebody and they say you can't go out with your friend, is that what you're saying? Yeah. All right, let's talk about that one. Let's talk about it. So, is that controlling to try to keep you away from other people?
Yeah.
Could that be isolating?
Mm-hmm.
Could that be a sign of extreme jealousy?
What about cases like, let's say, I'm a woman. Like, what if somebody says, like, your partner says you can't be friends with another man or you can't be friends with another woman? Yeah, that's a good one. I was gonna ask that one too.
Okay. All right, let's weigh in on it. What are your thoughts? Can you, if you're in a partnership, intimate partnership, can you be friends with another gender?
Are they fine?
Are they fine?
This right here plays too much.
I'm telling you, that's my
Plays too much. All right, Michaela, and I know Michaela's name for a reason. Let me tell y'all why. Because Michaela is one of our volunteers at the Cumby Center. So she comes out there and helps us all the time. So ask me a question.
You can be friends with an opposite gender, yes. But it's a respect thing. Like, why are you and another female going out by yourself? Like, why can't go out as a group or something like?
Okay, all right, but that does not need to be a demand in a relationship. Okay, what that needs to be, if you have a healthy relationship, what are you doing on the front end of the relationship? You're talking about what's important to you. Are we aligned with this particular belief? Because maybe instead of 6 months down the road, you're trying to control them and y'all are fighting about this. Maybe in the beginning, y'all are talking about these things that are important to you. Like that's a boundary that you have, all right? So if your partner agrees to it, okay, then y'all agree and then y'all are able to move on. But don't not talk about it and then get 6 months in where then you're upset and then y'all are fighting. It becomes very unhealthy, right? This is where the red flags and the boundary setting. So there's two parts to boundaries: knowing what your boundaries are and then acting on them, right? So how many in here have that boundary that you don't want your intimate partner going like out one-on-one with someone else, with the opposite sex?
Oh,
Are they fine?
This is right here. I feel like I know this one right here.
you probably do.
So we have, most of y'all in here feel that way.
Yeah.
So would you be okay if your partner went out with someone of the opposite sex? By themselves? Okay. What if they were best friends before meeting you? Yeah. So but instead of waiting until that happens and then reacting in a negative way, what's the healthy thing to do? Yeah. When you start dating somebody, talk about the things that are important to you. Talk about the things that you have boundaries with. Does anybody have a boundary in their dating with their partner that you would share with us?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Um,
What's a boundary that you have that you would share with us?
I would say that, like, oh, that's hard.
It is hard to sometimes put, it's almost like you know the feelings, but can't put it in words sometimes. All right, I'll come back to you, okay? All right, you back here.
Oh, I'm gonna piggyback off what y'all were saying. I don't have a problem with the opposite sex, but if they like you and you continue to be their friend, that's where I have a problem.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with
Okay. Are you communicating those sorts of things with your partner on the front end?
yes.
Okay. Very healthy to communicate those things, because it's okay if y'all communicate and don't agree, and then you might decide, hey, this ain't for me then.
Yes.
Right? It's not for me.
Okay, I'm gonna piggyback off that too.
Okay.
It's fine until you give me a reason for it not to be fine.
Oh.
You don't need a reason.
Okay.
No, like you show people like your true colors. Like
Yeah.
it's fine when I see it. Like
Yeah.
if she's doing sneaky stuff to my partner, then I'm like, okay, now it's gotta stop.
Okay. All right. So, what were we saying? What is a healthy boundary or a boundary? Maybe it's unhealthy. I don't know. What is a boundary you have with your partner, or
Like,
that you want to have with your dating partner? All right.
not communicate. Like, they have to communicate.
All right. And that looks different for a lot of people. So you even have to break that communication boundaries and bring it into some really tangible pieces, like what's important to you about communicating. Is it that we sit down and communicate calmly? Or is it that you're just spewing out your feelings and calling it communication, all right? So we have to be real careful and be very specific with what we want in our lives. Because you can very easily be ending up in this. Very easily. Thank y'all for sharing those things. I think boundaries are super important. And if you ever have well, no, I'm gonna say it like this. You need to make the time to really evaluate yourself. All right? You need to evaluate yourself and consider what's really important. And if those things are what's important to you, then why are you living in a different way? Okay. All right, so let's talk about digital abuse, okay? So, digital, anything that has to do with technology, right? So it's very easy for digital abuse to be happening these days, right? How? Right? We talked about it earlier with stalking. So how is it easy to happen? Social media, all these apps that you think are safe, well, guess what? They're not. And they all tell where you are. But there's also like equipment that we can buy to stalk, to track, all sorts of things.
Hold on now, that's too much money. That's too much.
It's actually not that much money, for real.
AirTag, too much money for me.
You can get a 2-pack of AirTags on Amazon for $79.
Baby, no.
No.
I really just follow you around.
Can you write this one straight down, please? We need to watch this one right here. Alright, so we need to be very careful. But what can also happen, not just watching and stalking and liking, right? But also sending messages that are insulting, sending messages that make you feel in fear, right? That happens very easily. It can go from 0 to 60 very fast. Maybe they're pressuring you to send, explicit photos that you're not wanting to send. And before you know it, you're being forced to do a lot of different things. What about passwords? Let's go back to that. What about passwords to your phone, to social media? All right, what's your boundary in a relationship about passwords? All right, let's get them. All right, back here. I haven't heard from you yet. Boundary about passwords.
So I'm gonna be honest. If he give me his password, you get mine because I ain't hiding nothing. But as soon as my Face ID or the password change, oh yeah, it time's up. Yeah, I'm going through.
Okay, so yours is I will only give you mine if you give me yours first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's not something I would think of. That's something he would think of. So like,
Okay.
that makes sense.
And you'll give your passwords.
Yeah.
To social media, to your actual phone.
Because I don't be on social media like that. So
Okay.
to me, social media ain't
Whatever.
important.
All right, I need to hear this. What's your boundary? All right, y'all listen. I need to hear this.
Like, we can share our phone passwords, but no account passwords.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, 'cause like, I don't know what, if something were to happen and not all my passwords are compromised, like, if the phone is fine, like, the digit to the code to the phone is fine. I don't know why.
So what? Okay. All right. Who agrees with that? Raise your hand if you agree. I'll give you my phone password, but not my account password.
I need to exit then.
Yes. All right. So, if you don't agree with that, so the rest of y'all are saying you don't agree with that. So are y'all saying don't give any passwords, or are you saying give me all the passwords?
I say it's all like that.
Okay, but here's the thing. It's important. What's your name? Adrian? It's important for you to communicate that in the beginning. But what if passwords don't come up until you're in the relationship for 2-3 months?
That would happen.
Then what do you do?
You should be like,
Well, it depends on how they act, right?
yeah,
Are they starting to be abusive about it? Are they starting to be controlling about it? Maybe that's your red flag, AJ, to get your honey out of there.
I feel like that would be with trust.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's a very interesting thing to say. So if I don't give you my passwords, it's because you should trust me?
No.
Yes.
No.
Or I give you my passwords. Okay. Well, this is something that y'all have to think about, and it's very individual within a relationship. You have to decide what you want in a relationship. Okay? And if that's what you want or don't want, then you need to be communicating that on the front end so that you're not ending up here.
I feel like you set precedent. That's like we were talking earlier about unless you give me a reason. Like, if you can sit by somebody, you can be on your phone in front of them. You can leave your phone in the car when you go to the bathroom. You can do all this type of stuff. It's stuff I look at, like, if you grab your phone and take off with it. Yeah, if we see like,
First of all,
Yeah, so those are little red flags, right, for us to be looking for within a relationship. And all of this is very important. The digital part is very, very important these days because who in here ever leaves their phone anywhere, right?
okay, but you get what I'm saying, like, if you can, for instance, you sit in the car, y'all pumping gas, why do you have to go to the pump right here? Why you gotta take your phone?
With your phone.
What if I get robbed?
Okay, but there's a very different perspective. Is this a red flag for you if your partner is taking their phone every time they pump the gas?
Yeah.
They might be.
Okay, you can say your Apple Pay, cool, but why do you
y'all gonna stand over like this?
Yeah, okay.
I'm bored. What we doing on that?
Okay, now listen. He used to what? Was that a red flag for her? Was that a red flag for her? Well, what I bet what she did was minimize it. They were probably arguing about it and continued to stay in the relationship. I bet. Yes.
Not gonna lie, I was sleeping at 8:30. I woke up, her phone was in her body. Can't even. And I wouldn't even go check it. But like seeing that, I was like,
Y'all see the people she gave you.
Okay. Right. Alright. It's obvious we've got some opinions that differ from each other in the room. So it's important that we know what those things are, that we're able to identify them. And it's not jokes all the time. It's not. These are real things within a relationship that ends up unhealthy and then abusive. And so we need to pay attention to those things for ourselves and then making sure that we're communicating and then getting out of a relationship that's not good for us. Because there's tons of red flags that we've already talked about. Intensity is number one. Okay? Because we talked about it. Because that first 2 weeks you were wanting to be crazy. All right, listen. Possessiveness, isolation, sabotage, betrayal, guilty, deflection, talking down, manipulation. All of these things can be very small. A very small manipulation, a very small sort of little isolation thing, a very small little jealousy thing that may seem small, but it's an indicator of something that could be to come. Okay? We need to be paying attention to those things. It's nobody else's responsibility for us to know ourselves. Okay? It's your responsibility to know who you are and what you will and will not tolerate. All right. The effects of abuse can look a lot of different things, right? Bruises, fear, distrust, anxiety, confusion, exhaustion, depression. It can look like a lot of different things that may not be apparent to you. So when you're feeling these things, when you're starting to become aware and starting to become educated on what these things are, and it's not that you haven't been told this stuff intellectually, okay? We can all know these things intellectually, but when you're in it, it's very different. It's very, very different. So we can be in this room laughing and saying, I'd never put up with that, blah, 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 whatever. When you're in it, it's very, very different, guys. Very different. It's very hard to get out of. We do a lot of, as humans, we have this way about us, like with our central nervous system, that tends to try to regulate these things when they feel super chaotic. We talk ourselves into minimizing and understanding the other person, being very compassionate, and so we bring that level down, even though we're still experiencing the same thing. So it's important for us to really be aware and educated, aware of ourselves, what we want, but also being educated what these things are, and then paying attention to how we feel. Does anybody in here have like intuition sort of feelings, like really what's right and wrong, what feels good, what doesn't feel good? So that's a two-step process. If you have good intuition, but then you have to act on it, right? Because a lot of times we betray ourselves. Who has ever in here betrayed yourself? Yeah. You know when it's something that doesn't feel right, and yet you continue on. All right, so, but we need to document, okay? If you're experiencing any type of abuse, even if it's like just sort of unhealthy things that haven't crossed over to abuse, we should be documenting it even if we're still in it, okay? You can keep a journal, you can print out those emails, those stalking text messages, all right? Record dates and times and descriptions. Try to find a safe place, right? Have a backup drive if you need it. And these are all extreme measures, but these are definitely things that we see here at Cumbie Center. As a matter of fact, here recently we've had SLED come and pick up a victim at our safe house and put her in the witness protection program. And that's a very real thing. That's a very real thing. And in today's society, with everything being heightened with violence, along with the tools of technology, boy, oh boy, a lot has happened. So you want to write down as much as you can. And not only is this for you, but it's also like if you know somebody that might be in this situation, right? It's easy for us to see when we're on the outside looking in. So what can you do if it's a stranger and you know they're being abused? If it's a friend, if it's a family member, or if it's yourself. So let's look at this statistic. 58% of college students say they don't know what to do to help someone who is a victim of dating abuse. It's a lot. 38% of college students say they don't know how to get help for themselves if they experience dating abuse as a victim. But let me tell you, it really is just simple. Right? The first steps are super simple. If it's a stranger, a friend, a family member, or yourself, you want to listen. Are we listening to others? This seems so elementary, doesn't it? But it is a big, huge thing. You want to listen to yourself, to your friend, your stranger, a family member. You want to believe, right? Because their experience is theirs. It's not for you to tell them that it's not happening. It's not for you to tell them that it's not that big of a deal or it's too much of a deal. All right? You want to support them. You want to know your resources. You want to know about documentation, how to do that. It's not rocket science. Get a journal and write things down. Time, date, what happened. Print things out from texting, your social media, anything like that when it's coming through there. Being aware, educating yourself, being proactive, and working on prevention. And how do we be proactive and work on prevention?
Don't date nobody.
Huh?
Date nobody.
Well, that will do it.
All the things that you listed on the bottom first.
Yeah. How do we be proactive? This is what we do. We know ourselves, right? We have to get to know ourselves. We have to be self-aware. We have to work on our emotional intelligence. How many of you in here would say, I'm emotionally intelligent?
My word.
Are you a work in progress?
Retired cracked up.
Retired what?
Cracked up. Retired.
Don't be crashing out no more. So, you say you're emotionally intelligent. Okay? I want you to think about what the next step in your growth is. Is that understanding about prevention? Understanding about prevention is learning about what are the red flags. It's having a heightened awareness of relationships that you're in. Okay? So much to do. Maybe it's coming and volunteering at the Cumbie Center. Learning a little bit more about that.
Plug is crazy. Plug is crazy.
It worked. All right. So know your resources, and here are some resources. Okay. It's Cumbie Center's 24/7 hotline. There's a sexual assault national hotline, a domestic violence national hotline. There are some websites that you can go to learn about all of these things. A lot of good information on there. Become passionate about who you are. Become passionate about being healthy and safe. Become passionate about even talking to your friends and family members about being safe. And safe is not just, what are we teaching about masculinity in our society? Masculinity is, I would take a bullet for you. Well, is there more to that? Is there more to healthy masculinity and healthy manhood than just, if a burglar broke into the house, I'll take care of it? Is there? What's other ways that we need to feel safe? Emotionally. Okay? Emotionally, that's right. So there's lots of information that you can learn on these websites about all of these things. So why does it matter? Why does it matter? I want to ask y'all this. What are you going to do with this information and how does it apply to you? What are you going to do with this information that you've gotten today?
Share it.
Share it. Share it.
Spread awareness.
Share it. Spread awareness. That's exactly right. What else? You're going to apply it. You're going to apply it to your life.
That's the hard part.
That's the hard part. Yes, it is. It absolutely is. Okay? Does this information apply to you? Do you feel like you already knew all of this and you're good? Be honest.
I'm like, I knew it, but when you in it, it's like, damn.
Right.
That's why, like, you don't know how you're gonna react till you in it, so it's not like you can't really prepare for nothing.
And it's important, though, to be reminded about these things. Because sometimes we go about in our lives, we're just living it, having fun, doing the thing, going to school, crashing out.
Hello?
Crashing out. So, it's important to bring it to the forefront. It really is. So we're always in need of volunteers at the Covey Center. We have office volunteers, shelter, hospital on-call, community events. We also offer internships. We're always in need of donations. We have a safe house, y'all. It's as much like a home as it can be for somebody's time in this part of their journey. So what do you need to take care of a home? What are some things you might need, like things that you have to buy to take care of your home? Food, cleaning supplies.
Oh, I say cleaning supplies.
What else? Money. So hygiene products, toilet paper, all the things that aren't glamorous, but those are the things that people need that we care for at Covey Center. Okay? Think about it. So October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and Covey Center does lots of things during Awareness Month. We have conferences, we hang awareness ribbons or light poles in downtown Aiken, downtown North Augusta, and Barnwell. Alright, we also have groups of usually a lot of students that come out. We have a couple of picketing days that we do in front of Odell Weeks, where we hold signs that say things like "break the silence" or ones that says "love shouldn't hurt." And when we're thinking about love shouldn't hurt, maybe you experienced things as a child. And we would love for y'all to gain more knowledge, more awareness, that you don't carry that into your future relationships. All right, we've got Covey Center Chili Cook-Off coming up. All right, so let's talk about it. So in the month of October, we do a chili cook-off. That's this Saturday. It's at Odell Weeks, and I know probably some of y'all are going to be there. I know that we've got the NAACP and the Pan-Hellenic group, I believe, that might have some folks out there. It's from 11:30 to 1:30. We need people there 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. To help set up, do some activities during the time, and then clean up. And from 11:30 to 1:30 is open to the public. It's out at Odell Weeks. You come and you taste chili and you vote. Josh and Mama's going to be there. So y'all come out there and meet Josh and Mama between 11:30 and 1:30. But of course, we can always use your help before and after. All right, who's coming? Who's coming to the chili cook-off?
Not if she cooking. Oh no, I can't.
No, she's not cooking. She's
Oh,
just.
no, I can't cook.
I know, she's got some crazy things. That's it. I see 4 people.
I can't cook.
Oh.
I'm remembering all these faces now. Y'all come out. Oh,
If she cooking, don't do it.
no, she's not cooking. She's okay. All right, and then on November 1st, do we have any walkers or runners in this group? annual fundraiser. If y'all want to come out there and do that. Y'all got it?
I walk. I ain't doing no
You don't have to run.
Bruh.
Okay. All right. And then on November 1st, we also kick off our holiday giving program for our clients where we match sponsors with families that are in need, and we provide all of the kids' Christmases. So it's a beautiful, beautiful giving opportunity. Okay. Now, I have a survey, and my QR code's not working, so we're doing it old school, okay? Paper is crazy. Anybody need to put, we passed those out. All right, who wants some purple domestic violence pen?
Now me.
Me. All right, so y'all can take one. How's that? All right, got it? I think so. Here, take one and pass them down. Hey. Okay. So y'all, please do the survey and
Don't
be
talk.
honest.
I'm trying. How many she did? We're gonna figure it out. I ain't kidding.
Okay, now, also, up here at the front on this table, who needs a pen? I have brochures, I have these silicone bracelets that say Kirby Center that says Believe, Empower, Educate.
Me too.
Please come and get what you want.
Got your circle. Excellent.
And our brochures, there's also flyers up here. At this time, do we have any questions or comments?
Just thank you for coming out.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate that very much. I really enjoyed all of the comments and the participation. Those are the kind of conversations that I love to have about them. And I hope that I have encouraged you guys to maybe think a little more about these things. So thank you very much for allowing me to come. If you want to bring your survey when you're done, and you can just put it face down right here.
All right, so for the Counseling Center, we just wanted to make sure that we remind you that we are a resource, of course, on campus, and to remind you of some of those resources that April acknowledged. And so national resources, and I encourage you to scan the QR code so that if later on in time you want to access some of the resources that April alluded to, love is respect, we have some of those hands out on the table. You can call, but you can also text or do online chat 24/7 with somebody. National Domestic Violence Hotline, again, you can call, text, or chat on that end as well. And the Red Flag campaign talks a little bit more about what can you do. What's the language? How would you approach a friend and tell them, you know, I'm thinking that you're in an unhealthy situation. How do I really create the words and sound supportive and not get them so much so on the defense? And so the Red Flag campaign website talks a little bit more about that, and also reminding them of regular red flags. For resources close by, of course, the Cumbie Center Community Partners is definitely a resource. University Police, of course, if you are dealing with a situation where you are being physically abused or assaulted, just like you would off campus, on campus, I encourage you to reach out for that level of help. They can help with filing reports and all of that. And then, of course, us over at the Counseling Center, we are here to offer our support. And so the Counseling Center is confidential, right? And so we are not the ones that say, oh, you're saying this happened to you, we need to report it. We're empowering you, we're strengthening you so that you can advocate for yourself. We're teaching you what unhealthy versus healthy versus abusive looks like, and we're catering it to you personally, right? We're not talking about in general terms. We're really saying, let's have a one-on-one conversation about what are your beliefs, what are your values, what's your judgment looking like, and what do you feel comfortable doing right now? And so, again, those are all things that, of course, we do, and if you don't already know, it is a free service to our students here. sometimes people are confused on how to reach out to us. Sometimes people say, oh, Navigate, I can reach out. Do not go to Navigate and try to reach out. If you want to make an appointment with us, it is as simple as calling us directly and saying, hey, I want to make an appointment, or walking in. We won't keep you long. We'll get you signed paperwork if you want to, if you got time. If not, we'll just schedule that appointment and get you that paperwork completed when you get there. We're located in the Student and Educational Support Building, so the best way I can describe that is we are right across from parking lot C, which is a parking lot kind of over towards this end of the campus. We are directly behind the B&E. That's another kind of landmark, I guess, that you can figure out where we're at, or we are the building that's connected to the Aiken Scholars Academy. And so again, we are a service that's here for you as students here, and we appreciate your time today. That's it.